Ready? Okay, here we go. Let's get to the good stuff. Project scheduling. Chapter 9. I want you to see these list of subjects real quick. So you can see there's only 4 really main subjects in this chapter. Is this it? This is it. Alright, and project scheduling with known activities. In real life, it's a rare situation to have known activities. When you get into management, and believe it or not, many of you are doing it eventually, and you're going to be so happy about it for a few minutes. And you're going to then be asked to head a project up. And now you're going to have these meetings. We didn't have video conferencing back then, so we were meeting to death. Everybody had to stop whatever they're doing when a meeting's coming up. Everybody go. And we had multiple sites. So we had people drive and think how much that costs for all these meetings that they put. And at this meeting, you're coming up with every activity to get this project completed. What do we have to do to get this project done? Oh, we have to get permits, or we got to get an architectural drawing, and we got to start recruiting businesses, or whatever the project is. Everybody at the meeting's throwing in all the things that need to be done, and someone's keeping track of them all, writing them all down. Then you got to put in order which activity has to be done before another activity starts. Now, in my experience, most project schedulings that I've been involved in have been building buildings, building, a dorm, or I was involved in building the Museum of African American History down in Detroit, and I went to a bunch of meetings where it was all scheduling, this exact thing, activity scheduling, making sure, where are we on this one? Are we on time? What about this one? Are we on time? This has to be finished by a certain time for this one to start. Project scheduling is the key to getting a project done on time. And being someone that comes from the finance department, this is huge to have it done on time, because almost always my department was taking out a loan for the project. And here's the deal on any loans for commercial projects in the real world back in my day. Things may have changed. You can get what's called a bridge loan. Bridge loans are very common in commercial real estate or buildings. And a bridge loan is where the bank says, okay, you need this $2 million. We're going to go ahead and let you have 1/3 of it up front, because the general contractor only needs 1/3 to get the building started. And while you have use of this money and you're building your building, there's no revenue coming in, so the bank says you only have to pay interest payments, no principal. When you think about that, because loan payments, if it's not amortized, it's a regular loan payment, most of the money's going to principal, not interest, not like a car loan or a house loan, where at the beginning it's all going to interest. But so we would only have to pay the finance department the interest payment, which was very affordable. You know, we only got 1/3 of it. So what is that? That's $667,000 or whatever. And then whatever the rate is, maybe I'm only making, I don't know, off the top of my head, $1,000 a month payment is all, because it's just the interest. And everything's fine. Cash. I have this all planned out with cash flow. Accounting majors, it's all about planning your cash. Where's my accounting majors? I want to make sure you're here. It's all about planning the cash. Your number one nightmare, accounting, is running out of cash. You might as well lose your job. Never run out of cash. You can't pay employees, they're gone eventually. And morale's so bad, they might as well be gone. You might as well close. Never run out of cash. And that's what you want to protect from happening. And that's why project scheduling takes place. Because if everything goes to plan, you've already signed a deal with the bank to start making payments on the principal and the interest. So your payment, we get the second part of the loan, we're making interest. We get the third part of the loan, because we're just about finishing up the building, let's say. And on the date it hits, no matter what the situation is, because you have this deal with the bank, you now got to start making payments on the principal and interest on all $2 million, because you're at the third part. Which now your payment goes from, let's see, it was $1,000, then maybe it's $2,000, and now it's like $20,000 a month. Right? $20,000 a month. But hang on. If we're off schedule, if everybody didn't, if this planning phase didn't go right, and we get off schedule, and this building's not completed, and we don't have revenue coming in, you have no choice but to start tapping into your cash to make that payment with nothing replacing it. And this is why you run into trouble. That's why it's so important to get projects done on time. Because you're making this $20,000 a month, and all of a sudden 3 months go by and this project still isn't generating revenue. Oh my God, you're out there just begging for some kind of quick loan. And there's even companies who will take their accounts receivable and borrow against those as a collateral. And they hand them over and they say, anything that's collected is yours to pay back this loan. Thank you. Even though it's just short term. And then when you pay back the loan, you take your accounts receivable back, or you sold them and you never get them back. A company will come and buy your accounts receivable for like 70 cents on the dollar. If they look through your books and say, oh, these are going to be paid, they'll pay you 70% of what they're worth, then they collect the accounts receivable and they make the extra 30%. But if you're not going to make payroll, you'll agree to that awfulness. It's like taking out a credit card and you go ahead and agree to 17% interest or some rip-off, 22% interest. That's what happens in a business. If you're about to run out of cash because a project you didn't get finished, you'll agree to anything to get your hands on some cash to make payroll. Or your business will be shut down. And that's crazy. So that's why this is so important. So this first one, known activity times. What's nice about construction projects is every construction company have done so many of these, they know exactly how long it will take to put up the studs. They know exactly how long it will take to do the wiring. They know exactly how long it will take to do the plumbing based on the square footage, how many walls. All this information's in the meetings, and they say, okay, that's going to take 2 weeks for all that drywall. Okay, that's going to take 3 weeks for all that painting. Every single activity, they pretty much know exactly how much time it takes. So that's an example of known activity times, and they're very easy to figure out the project expected time, which particular activities are called critical activities, which is where we're headed. The second one, uncertain estimated times. This is like every other project I've ever worked with, other than a building. Because you're just not sure what the exact time would be to do this or do that. And so what you do as a team is you come up with the most likely amount of time it will take. But to be safe, you give, hey, if things go perfect, it could go a little bit shorter amount of time. And if things don't go perfect, it could take a little more time. So it's called your most likely, your pessimistic, and your optimistic times. And you break them down like this. Hang on, almost there. Hang on, come on. There. This would be what you would have after several meetings with your team, trying to figure out how long each activity is going to take. And I want to tell you, I've never seen one with this many activities. Maybe 10 times that would be the amount of activities on a project, a real project. So this is kind of a micro example. But look how there's 3 different times we agreed on. And once in a while, you have one of the activities where you all agree for sure it will take 3 hours. Look at C. If you have one that everyone agrees, there's no way it could take more or less than 3 hours. It's 3 hours. You put a 3 in for the optimistic time, a 3 for the most likely, and a 3 for the pessimistic time, because that's one of those that you know the time. But look at the other ones are all estimates. It could be a 1 hour, 1.5 hours, or a half hour. This could be 4 hours, 5 hours, or if we're really lucky, that was all 3 hours. You know, you see how these go. Optimistic is always like the person at the table says, no, I can get that done. I can get that done. They say about it, I can get that done. I'm never going to take that much time. Here, this is more like me. There's no way you're getting that done in 6 hours. Let's add an hour. There's no way you're getting this done in 5 hours. Let's add 3 hours. You know,
Does that mean predecessor or prediction?
Optimistic. Pessimistic means
No. Immediate predecessor or?
Okay. I'm heading here. This is what I'm heading to. But meanwhile, everybody see where these come about, right? Once you have these, you're going to do a step to convert all of this to one amount of time, and you're going to have the amount of time you're going to use. It's not going to necessarily be the most likely. There's a formula taking the optimistic and pessimistic into consideration, and you'll have one time. Once you've done those calculations and you have the amount of time for each activity, now you're doing it just like known activity times. So what I'm about to show you with known activity times is also how you do estimated activity times, except you have this extra step where you got to turn these into one time. All right, everybody ready? Let's go back here now. Hey. You had your meetings, you're saying, now this is a known one. Everybody's there, knows exactly how much time things are going to take. Unrealistic unless you're building a building, but here we go. Whatever this project is, here's how much time it's going to take. And then at this meeting, after you get all the activities, you always are going to analyze, hey, if we're doing select a contractor, what activities must be completed before we can even start looking for a contractor? That's the kind of question you ask the group. And someone will say, oh, well, you've got to have an architectural drawing before you select a contractor. There's no reason to select a contractor without architectural drawing. But what is it, though, that would have to be done exactly before you start looking for a contractor? And they're saying, well, identify potential new tenants. Yeah, that doesn't necessarily have to be done exactly before you go to a contractor. But this architectural drawing, there's no reason to get a contractor unless that's finished. So that's how you select an immediate predecessor. It's whatever has to be done before you start this. So in this case, I can say, in this meeting, they said, B doesn't necessarily have to be done before you do this, and C doesn't have to necessarily be done before you select contractors, but A must be done. And it's the one right before it. Let's jump to a later one now. Go in here, perform construction. Look at this, everything's building up to doing construction, and in one little sentence here, for the activity of building the building. This is where this would open up now to 1,000 activities in real life. Right here, this one. But it's right here. Now, when we start talking about what has to be finished before you start the construction, everyone's agreeing that getting that building permit cannot start until, or has to be done before we start construction. And everyone's agreeing that selecting a contractor would have to be finished before we start construction because the general contractor is the one leading the construction. And if you look at, what was it, F? If you look at F, yes, E has to be done before F, and we know that E has to be done before we do this, but we don't need to list it as immediate predecessor because F already has it as an immediate predecessor. E would have to be done before F can start, and we're putting F has to be done before construction can start. So there's no reason to list E also. Same with D. Notice D is select contractor. Yes, A has to be done before we select a contractor, but A is already the immediate predecessor before selecting a contractor, so we only need to put D, and it includes A and D, because A is before you can even start D. Immediate predecessors means those activities both, especially when you have two like this, they both have to be done before you can start this activity. You cannot start it until both are completed. Same down here, G and H. We cannot have tenants move in until both G and H are done. Oh, H just got finished? No one's moving in. We have to have G done also. And you'll see the logic behind it. And the reason we don't have any letters is because if you go to G, it already has D and F before it. If you go to D, it already has A before it, and so on. This took place probably over several meetings to get to this point, and everyone agreed to the amount of time it will probably take. Now you need to draw a network. The good news is, on a quiz, you do not have to draw this network. It could be transportation from the previous chapter, or transshipment, or assignment you might have to draw a network, but I'll give you this network, if you need it. If the network's involved in the question, I will give this network. It will look like this. There it is. If you look at what precedes it, you follow the arrows. Like I can look at this network and go, tenants move in. Well, on the list up there, activity I probably says immediate predecessor, G, just follow the arrow, H. G and H would be the immediate predecessor. A has no immediate predecessor, so you always have it come right from the start. B has no immediate predecessor, so it comes right from the start. H has both C and B immediately before it, so you can see how the arrows. You follow the arcs. This drawing represents exactly that list of activities. Now, are you ready? Is that light still green? Yes. Okay. And what are you doing here? Can you see it? Has enough time gone by that I can touch these holders now? How many days has it run? 9? Go ahead and touch these. You see the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be on your homework. It could be on your quiz. It's called a forward and backwards pass. What you're about to do is I'm taking that exact network drawing, and if I'm asking you to do a forward and backwards pass, I'm probably giving you a network drawing just like this. And you're doing this logical forward pass to figure out what the expected completion time is for this project. And for each activity, this left-hand top box is the earliest start, represented by ES. This top right-hand box is the earliest finish, represented by EF. This bottom left-hand box is the latest start, represented by LS. You're going to have questions that say, what is the LS? What is the calculate EF or whatever? I want to make sure you know what these four letters, symbols represent. This is your latest finish, represented by LF. So earliest start, earliest finish, latest start, latest finish. Everybody with me? Any activity coming directly from start that has no immediate predecessors starts on day 0. So I see A and I see B starting on day 0. This is weeks, I think. I'm sorry. Week 0. How many weeks is activity A supposed to take? 5 weeks. So now add 5 weeks to the day it starts. 0 plus 5. The earliest it could be done is week 5. 0 plus 5. All right, let's go to E. The only arc coming to E is coming from A. So it only has one immediate predecessor. And A can finish as early as what? Day 5? So E can start on that day. So I'm going to day 5, or week 5, excuse me. And E is supposed to take 1 week, so I'll add 1 to it. It can finish as early as week 6. Everybody see it? Let's go to B. You tell me the earliest finish, top right-hand corner of the box, is going to be what number?
6.
That's right, 0 plus 6, because it's going to take 6 weeks to complete that project. I'm going to C. C only has A behind it. A is finished on what week? 5. Takes 4 weeks to do C. 9. Let's go D. D only has A before it. A finishes on week 5. It takes 3 weeks, so it could finish on week 8.
Wait.
Stop.
That's earliest start and earliest finish?
That's earliest start and earliest finish across the top.
So
These are the earliest.
A cannot ever be finished in 4 weeks.
No. Well, unless this is estimated time, then there's a chance. And there's a chance it could be done in 4 weeks, but for our sake of figuring out our expected time to schedule all the things that need to be scheduled to do this project, we all agreed on 5 weeks.
Okay.
Where was I? F. Tell me what F's earliest start's going to be. Week what? I heard it.
6.
There you go. And then earliest finish will be week what? 7. Very good. Let's go to, here we go. H is our first one that is preceded by more than one activity. This is the part, you've got to write a rule down or something there. In a forward pass, you've got to realize for that activity that's preceded by more than one activity, are we on H, right? Is this where we're at? And both C and B have to be done. B gets done in week 6, but you still can't start H because both of these have to be done. C finishes in week 9. So when's the soonest H could start? 9. Exactly, because they both have to be done. If you want to write it in a rule, forward pass, if there's more than one preceding activity, pick the largest earliest finish, the largest EF. The largest EF, which in this case is the 9. 9 plus 12 gives us, what's that, 21? 21 weeks, that's a big one, 12 weeks. G, preceded by more than one activity. Look at F, look at D. G's earliest start is week what? 7. Very good. Add 14. There we go. Okay, well we have an I. I is preceded by both G and H. So I could start as early as what, 21?
24.
Very good. 4. They both have to be finished, not just one of them. They both have to be finished. Add 2, we're at 26. What's the expected completion time of this project? 26 weeks. Anything going to the finish, sometimes there's tool bump, whatever the last activity to finish, whatever the most amount of time is, 26, the other one could be 27, the expected completion time of the project is then 27, whatever the largest one is going forward. So 26 weeks is our expected time to complete. Now we're going to do a backwards pass. You ready? The last one at the end there is coming out of the finish, so the completion time of the project is 26, so that means this would have to be done in 26 in order to have the whole project done in 26. Subtract 2, 24. Now look at the starts. Earliest start, latest start. They're both 24. Look at the finishes. Earliest finish and latest finish are both 26. When you have no difference between the starts or the finishes, they're both, if you have no difference in one, you have no difference in the other, you just found a critical activity. And if there was a difference, it would be called slack. We're going to identify some with slack coming up. But if it has no slack, it's a critical activity. This is a big deal. I'm going to G. G only has I after it, and I's latest start is 24, so that means its latest finish for G can be 24. Minus 14 is 10. We just found, what's the name of that? Critical activity. Let's look at H. H only has I after it, because we're going backwards. This can be done in 24, or I mean its latest start's 24. We use latest starts, by the way, going backwards. So that means the latest finish here can be 24. Subtract 12, what do we get? Is this a critical activity? No. How much slack exists? Now, you can either look at the starts, or you can look at the finishes, but don't add them together. They're both going to give you the same number. Just look at one of them. What's the slack? 3 weeks. Slack equals 3 weeks of that one right there. The difference between the starts or the differences between the finishes. Okay, now this is my time to tell you what a critical activity means compared to a slack activity from my experience. Building a building. Whatever's being done here, they have to show up on week 24, and they have to get done on week 26, or they're costing us money, without a doubt. That's critical. And so, I would always keep track of the critical activities. And if I knew there's an activity coming up that's going to be critical, I would be calling them, whoever's in charge of the activity. In this case, it's a subcontractor. Let's say it's trim or something, or flooring, I don't know. I'd be calling them and saying, hey, I just want to make sure you're going to be here. I'd give them the date and the time. We are counting on you. I need confirmation you're going to be here, because if you're not here, it's going to cost money. And they confirm they're going to be there. They appreciate the reminder. Things are good. Now, this activity, H, this could be painting. We know, painting. And I realize it's not a critical activity. I'm not calling them. Because if they don't show up on week 9, I'm not sweating it. I may call them because they didn't show up now, but I'm not calling them to remind them to be there at week 9, because there's 3 weeks slack. Meaning, if they didn't show up at week 9, it's not going to affect the final project time. We have slack there. If they don't show up on week 10, now I'm sweating a little. But I give them a call, courtesy call. Hey, I know you didn't come last week, you didn't come this week. I just want to make sure you're going to be here on week 12, 2 weeks. We're on week 10 now. I want to make sure you'll be here, because if you're not here on week 12, you're costing us money. And they say, we will be there on week 12. Matter of fact, we're going to be there on week 11. They never show up on week 11. That's so common. You always get lied to. Always. Very common. And they, luckily though, show up by week 12. They're not going to slow the project down. They're not going to cost us money. Let's keep going. G. That's a critical activity. They have to be there on week 10. I'm giving them a call on week 8 or 9, and I'm saying, look, I just want to make sure you're coming on week 10. This is a big deal. If you're not here, it's cost us money. And the non-critical ones, you don't worry about them until they're not showing up. But then you're getting close to where they have to show up, you start making phone calls. Because it's going to cost money. Let's go with F. F only has G after it. So what would be the latest finish in that box right there for F? 10. It would be the latest start for the activity after it. Subtract 4, 6. Look what we just found. Look at D. Only has G after it. What would be the latest finish for D when it only has G after it? No. 10. Because G's latest start is 10, you have to have the latest start in the latest finish of the activity before it. Subtract 3 is 7. Slack is how much? 2 weeks. Slack equals 2 weeks. 7 minus 5 is 2, or you could go 10 minus 8. They're going to give you the same answer. Let's go to E. E has only F after it. F's latest start is 6, so the latest finish here is 6. Subtract 1's 5. Look what I just found. Let's go to C. C only has H after it. Is that right? Yeah. H's latest starts at 12. I'll put a 12 there. Minus 4. What is that, 8? Slack is how much? Equals 3. Let's go B. B only has H after it. H's latest start is 12. Put a 12. Minus 6 is a 6. Look at this slack. They won't hear from me at all. There's no 6 weeks. I'll forget about them after they didn't show up. They're not going to hear from me. I don't have to worry about them. And they're at the beginning. Everybody's going to say, what is up? They haven't showed up week 1, week 2, week 3. I know they don't have to show up until 6, but who told them? That's the thing I want to mention. When you're a manager, and you're doing a project, and you've got a project with slack, you never tell them they're slack. Because they will not show up until 6 if they know. Never mention it. This is the real world, I'm telling you. You want to be here right at the start. Be here right at the start. You know, you may even say, hey, if you're not here, I mean, you don't have very much slack. You're going to cost us money. So if you get here, really, there's like 6, but you don't want them to know that. That's just how they work. As soon as they hear they can make money over here on week 5, even though they're planning on showing up, they're going to quickly go there and make that money because they know they don't have to be there until week 6. That's just how it is. Any project I've ever been on, this is the case if you let them know. Every project. Not saying every contractor or every whatever, but most of the time.
Will it always work out to get a line of critical items?
Yeah, some will have more than one critical path. We're about to identify the critical path.
So are time bonuses usually just on critical activities or does
time bonuses, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
He's
Like
talking about
completion
on projects, time bonus would be a pay thing where you have an incentive for getting done early, and we started getting into those contracts also. You have also a penalty for getting done late. And that helps extremely get projects done on time by having this bonus if done early and penalty if done late, where you hold back some money at the end. You don't pay it if you're not getting done on time. And this money you've calculated is how much you need to be able to afford the payment and not run out of cash. Yes. Back in my day, those were just starting.
Yeah, it's like
Incentive.
commonplace with union work.
It is, yeah. That's right. I didn't finish it. One more. Okay, look, what do you got to look at for this bottom right? What numbers are you looking at to determine what that bottom right would be on A?
The highest.
What numbers? Give me the exact numbers. I see an 8. What other number? 7. And what other number? They're looking at the latest start here, the latest start here, the latest start there. When you're going backwards, it's smallest number. When you have multiples, the smallest, so we're going to go with the 5. Minus 5 is 0. Now, and your critical path are the critical activities that connect, that go from start to end. A, E, F, G, I. You write it like this. A, E, F, G, I is your critical path. This project is expected to take 26 weeks. That's how you would answer that question. All right, you guys, we'll pick up from here on Thursday.